The Sermon on the Mount, also known as the Beatitudes or the two Beatitudes. I'm so excited about this. I've been waiting to share this with you because this is all about blessings. 8 simple statements we need in this fallen, rotten world. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sick and tired of it. But Jesus outlines his blessings for us and one another. Jesus tells us his blessings are coming, his blessings are many, and we should rejoice and be humble. Matthew chapter 5. Chapter is, you're blessed. So when Jesus saw his ministry was drawing huge crowds, he climbed a hillside, and those apprenticed to him, the committed, climbed with him. Arriving at a quiet place, he sat down and he taught his climbing companions. And this is what he said. But the first one was, you're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and his rule. You're blessed with less of you, there is more of him. You're blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. You're blessed when you are content with just who you are, no more, no less. And that's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that can't be bought. Jesus says you're blessed when you've worked up a good appetite for God. He's food and drink and the best meal you'll ever eat. Jesus says you're blessed when you care in the moment of being careful. You find yourself cared for. Jesus says you're blessed when you get your inside world, your mind and your heart put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. He says in Matthew chapter 5 verse 9, you're blessed when you show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight. That's when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. You're blessed when your commitment to God provokes persecution. The persecution drives you deeper into God's kingdom. Not only count yourselves as blessed every time people put you down or throw you out or speak lies about you to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close to comfort and they are uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Give yourself a cheer even. Yeah! For they don't like it. I do, and all heaven applauds, and that you know that you're in good company. My prophets and witnesses have always gotten into all kinds of trouble. So Jesus goes on to say, let me tell you why you're here to be salt seasoning that brings out God's flavors out of this earth. If you lose your saltiness, how will people taste godliness? You've lost your usefulness, and you'll end up in the garbage. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out God's colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this. As public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm gonna hide you on a bucket, do you? Nah. I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God. This generous Father in heaven. Verse 7, don't suppose for a minute that I come to demolish the scriptures either. God's law or the prophets. I'm not here to demolish, but to complete. I'm going to put it all together. Put it all together in a vast panorama. God's law is more real and lasting than the stars in the sky and the ground at your feet. Long after the stars burn out and the earth wears out, God's law will be alive and working. Trivialize even the smallest atoms in God's law, and you will have only trivialized yourself. But take it seriously, show the way to others, and you will find honor in the kingdom. Unless you do far better than the Pharisees. in the matters of right living, then you won't know the first thing about entering the kingdom. I don't say this lightly, but Jesus says you're familiar with the command to the ancients, do not murder. But I'm telling you that anyone so much as angry with a brother or sister is guilty of murder. Carelessly call a brother an idiot and you just might find yourself hauled into court. Thoughtlessly yell stupid at a sister and you're on the brink of hellfire. The simple moral fact is that words kill. This is how I want you to conduct yourself in these matters. If you enter a place of worship and you're about to make an offering, you suddenly remember a grudge your friend has against you, abandon that offering. Leave immediately and go find the friend and make things right. Then and only then, come back and work out things with God. Or, say you're out on the street and an old enemy accosts you. Don't lose a minute. Make the first move. Make things right with him. After all, if you leave the first move to him, knowing his track record, you're likely gonna end up in court. Maybe even worse, jail. If that happens, you won't get out without a stiff fine. You know the next commandment pretty well, don't we all? Don't go to bed with another man's spouse. But don't think you've preserved your virtue simply by staying out of bed. Your heart can be corrupted by lust, even quicker than your body. Those ogling looks you think nobody notices, they also corrupt. Let's not pretend it's easier than it really is. If you want to live a morally pure life, here's what you have to do. You have to blind your right eye the moment you catch it in a lustful leer. You have to choose to live one-eyed or else be dumped on a moral trash pile. And you have to chop off your right hand, whack, the moment you notice it raised threateningly. Better a bloody stump than your entire being discarded for good in the dump. Jesus goes on to say, remember the scripture that says whoever divorces his wife, let him do it legally, giving her the divorce papers and her legal rights. Too many of you are using that as a cover for your selfishness and whim, pretending to be righteous just because you are legal. Please, no more pretending. If you divorce your wife, you're responsible for making her an adulteress, unless she's already made herself that way by promiscuity. And if you marry such a divorced adulteress, you're automatically an adulterer yourself, and you can't use legal masks to cover your moral failure. Jesus says further, and don't say anything you don't mean. This counsel is embedded deep in our traditions. You only make things worse when you lay down a smokescreen of pious talk, saying, I'll pray for you, and never doing it, or saying, God be with you, and not meaning it. You don't make your words true by embellishing them with a religious face. In making your speech sound more religious, it becomes less true. Just say yes and no. When you manipulate words to get your own way, you go wrong. He says, here's another old saying that deserves a second look. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth isn't gonna get us anywhere. Here's what I propose. Don't hit back at all. If someone strikes you, stand there and take it. And if someone drags you into court and sues you for the shirt off your back, gift wrap your best coat and make a present out of it. And if someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more tit for tat. Live generously. You're familiar with the old written lore. Love your friend and his unwritten companion. Hate your enemy. I'm challenging that. And I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the supple moves of prayer. For then you're working out your true selves, your God-created selves. This is what God does. He gives his best, the sun to warm and the rain to nourish. To everyone, regardless, the good and the bad, the nice and the nasty. If all you do is love the lovable, do you expect a bonus? Anybody can do that. If you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect a medal? Any run-of-the-mill sinner does that. In a word, what I'm saying is grow up. You're kingdom subjects. Now live like it. Live out your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously towards others, the way God lives towards you. In summary, Jesus hands out kingdom blessings. He says he'll bless you when you mourn. Bless the humble, the ones who are hungry for righteousness. He'll bless those who are merciful, those who have a pure heart, and the peacemaker, and those who are persecuted for righteousness and falsely slandered. He tells us to be salt and light, to be tasty so people want to be around us, to light the way for others. And he reminds us the dangers of anger. He tells us to make up with our brothers and sisters, to guard our hearts against lust, and respect the sanctity of marriage. And let our yes be yes and our no be no. To love our enemies. And that is keeping up the positive for sure.